Next thing I want to talk about is Anthony Fano. Kind of discuss this producer who had some things to say about hip hop, and especially like the essence of old school hip hop, traditional hip hop. And he had some very kind of controversial comments that had people in an uproar. So like, kind of let's check that out and see what he had to say and like what this character had to say about hip hop.
Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time to discuss a kind of viral clip that has been going crazy on music social media. It involves one producer, Mr. Emerald Beats, who was speaking kind of off the cuff, maybe a bit too off the cuff, in an
Emrld Beats, somebody I've actually never heard of, but I guess we're going to find out who he is.
An On the Radar interview. If you're unfamiliar with On the Radar, they are a pretty cool platform that specializes in a lot of freestyle and studio performance content. I will say a lot of their most viral clips usually involve something a little polarizing, and that is most definitely the case for this Emerald Beats interview clip.
What genre do I think is overrated? If you sampling a soul record, get that bullshit out of here. No one's trying to hear that. I hate soul, anything, boom bap. Yeah.
What? This is why they say old heads in hip hop are haters, because when we hear people say shit like this about the culture and the genre that you love so much, how can you say anything else but fuck you? Like, honestly, like, how can you say anything else but fuck you, eat a dick, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about? I don't know how you're supposed to feel anyway about what he just said, because if you truly love hip hop to the core and the culture and what it means for the culture and what it's done over the years and what it represents, how can you not have a instantly angry, vitriolic reaction to the shit that he just said? Could you imagine hip hop without soul beats? Without boom bap beats? Like, yes, music evolves as it does, as it should, as genres evolve and changes, and like people's tastes and everything changes, because nothing is old, stays like new and fresh and whatever in the moment forever. Shit changes. Just like the current sound of hip hop now is going to change. There's going to be a shift. People are going to be the same shit about what is going on now. And the fact that you, as a hip hop producer, have to say this about hip hop is like exactly why they say old heads are haters, because y'all say dumb shit like this all the time.
Get that unk shit out of here, bro. I don't like any of that music.
Unk shit. That's like when Little Uzi Vert came out and said, if you over 30, you old in hip hop. Like, bro, you are 30. You still putting out music. Like, shit comes back fast. Remember you said this.
Music.
Now, to a lot of you who just saw what was going on there, you might just kind of react to that and think,
yeah, fuck this guy. Like, that's exactly what I thought. Like, literally, can you imagine hip hop without soul beats? Basically, the first half of Kanye's whole kind of production career and music, gone. Throw that shit out. Trash. Diplomats, trash. Boom bap, Illmatic, Biggie, Mobb Deep, trash. Throw that shit out. Could you imagine hip hop without that shit? I can, because there would not be hip hop. Like, they literally laid the groundwork and foundation for motherfuckers like this to even say the shit they're saying with their chest, because they somehow learned how to create a simple beat on like Fruity Loops.
What's the big deal? This just kind of seems like some random guy. Actually, believe it or not, this is not just some random guy. He's a somewhat established producer in the drill space, of all places. He has credits both on the New York... Hey everyone.
Drill space. inarguably the easiest, laziest form of hip hop production out there today. I'm not sure if he's one of those sample drillers that kind of just take popular pop songs over the last 10 to 15 years and just kind of flip it with a different drum beat and pattern. But that is also a thing in drill. But like drill beats has to be the laziest, most easily reproduced kind of form of hip hop and beats in particular. So like for somebody like that to say, we say it's fitting because he's got to be simple-minded. He's got to be.
Along with gravitating in a specific direction.
And don't take that as hate, because I actually do like some drill songs and some drill music, and I do think there's some like interesting things. Obviously, like the whole Chicago scene and like Chief Keef and all that was like big moments, and like even New York is having a moment right now. But you cannot listen to that shit and think like, oh, this is like high-level production shit that they're doing.
In terms of the music you want to hear and the music you want to make. And there's plenty of different classic, amazing styles of hip hop that are not soul sampling records, that are not boom bap. But again, this guy says, if you sampling a soul record, get that bullshit out of here. No one trying to hear that. And even goes on to call it unk shit. I really need white people to stop saying unk. I really truly do.
Oh God, please stop saying that shit. That shit's so corny. Like you saying it to like 30-year-olds, like, bro, you about to be there in like 5 years. The fuck we talking about unk shit? Like, dog, this shit is infuriating. I ain't even gonna lie.
Like from the deepest depths of my soul, stop. And the reason this clip is worth talking about is because the layers of irony and disappointment are impenetrable. And there are some reasons that are painfully obvious, but I'm going to go over anyway. This guy is super young. He's white.
I'm from New Hampshire.
He's obviously quite oblivious when it comes to
Oh, bro. Like, these are dudes like used to see like back in movies and shit getting fucking atomic wedgied. Like, what are we doing?
the broader world of hip hop music. And he's obviously making a living participating in a genre he is openly disrespecting. However, what sort of irks me or worries me is that I don't think most people are going to look at this problem and dig any deeper than this, because really at the end of the day, these are not the issues. These are the symptoms of the issue. Part of me even worries that there will be no worthwhile discourse coming out of the comment section of this video too, because everyone will be quick to be like, oh, Anthony, you're a symptom of the same thing because you're a white guy talking about hip hop music. But even though that point will be deafening and everyone bringing it up will be acting like they're smart for doing so, let's try to dig a bit deeper than this anyway, because I don't think this guy becomes a professional producer and boom bap hater in a vacuum. This doesn't happen without hip hop music being commodified and stripped down to its most salacious and marketable characteristics. Meanwhile, the message and aesthetics of its past are just totally being thrown out. Because this guy came to a conclusion that's being incentivized by the success that he's seeing. Like, of course, Emerald Beats thinks nothing of vocally rejecting soul sampling records and boom bap.
Like, I don't understand why young dudes keep doing this shit and like saying these things that like irritate the fuck out of people that have like laid the groundwork for the fucking genre that you were actually working in. But like, it's never really turned out well for those artists that have said these things. Like Lil Pump said said very similar shit to that. And it's just like, oh, okay, like, you don't want to have a career. Like, you're not going to last very long. Like, Lil Yachty also said this thing that he had to very much backtrack with. Lil Uzi says some shit. Like, a lot of people have said certain things about genre that came before, about the genre and the sounds that came before, that have not aged at all for them in like their careers. And you look back at it like, damn, maybe you should have looked into the sounds and the styles and the artists that have came before you that have done it successfully because there was something there. And it's like, I have a feeling that life's going to come at him very fast in the music industry, especially in hip hop.
Records. He's rejecting
because I mean, how long is Drill going to last? Like, really, we already kind of getting tired of it. People are already obviously like moving away from it. Like, if you can hear some of the biggest hits out there now, they are far from Drill. They are far from Drill. In fact, they are actually moving back to the early 2000s, mid 2010s. 2010 sounds that we're getting. Glorilla's one of the biggest out there. Megan Thee Stallion's out there. Kendrick's out there. Like, people are moving away from that drill sound and at a very fast pace. And soon he will kind of be like out of work or quickly moving to pop, like, which is what I predict is going to happen with his career.
These genres artistically too. And undoubtedly, this is a sentiment he has heard voiced within the circles he's operating in too. I mean, animosity toward boom bap records and 90s hip hop and golden age hip hop has been a pretty popular opinion to voice among a lot of young rappers out there, starting back in the SoundCloud era, be it Lil Xan or Lil Yachty.
Yeah, Lil Xan. It's just like, bro, why? Why do you even have to have this opinion? Just shut the fuck up and make your own music.
Or whoever. So of course Emrld Beats also holds this opinion because this opinion is essentially the water that he's swimming in. And he feels comfortable voicing it because even if he does get a lot of people hating on him in the wake of this interview,
he'll get clout, he'll get recognition, which we are clearly obviously doing, Fantano himself and me. Because obviously I'm reacting to it and giving my opinion. It's like he's getting what he wanted, which is clout. And these young dudes live off of clout.
There are most likely a lot of artists he's worked with that more or less feel the same or will just continue to work with him anyway. This is not something he would be putting out there if he actually felt like he was going to see repercussions for it, either personally or professionally. On top of this, despite the very aggressive gatekeeping that some people may try to do around some genres and artists on social media, it's become increasingly clear that there are certain genres of rap music today where white people seemingly are totally freely allowed to move about and operate without being confronted with their whiteness. Even the
Bruh. Glad Fantano said that himself, because obviously white dude seeing this, expressing it in a way that I was very much been expressing, wanting to say is that, like, I don't want to bring this down to race and color and whatnot, but like obviously hip hop and rap is a culture that has always been heavily black dominated because we basically started the genre. We are the core of the genre. We are the essence of the culture. It comes from black culture, which birthed rap, birthed hip hop. And yes, you are getting a lot more other cultures in there, not just white rappers, but you are getting a lot of other cultures into hip hop, tapping into hip hop, contributing to hip hop, which is cool, which is great. Love it. But when you have opinions about the culture and you are also not black, you are just opening yourself up to a lot of criticisms, either warranted or not, and opinions that people are going to have. It's going to look a certain way, and that's just fact. Like, it might not be right, but it's going to look differently as a white producer saying this than somebody else saying this. And that is just facts. That is just facts, because again, you are from New Hampshire. You are white. I'm assuming you probably grew up in the suburbs, and you probably grew up loving hip hop and rap, which is great. We are always been the most welcoming culture. Like, we let everybody in. We welcome you in. We don't really question too much. Like, Eminem quickly blew up to be one of the biggest, and like black people loving him just as much as white people do. But one thing I've always pointed out, the difference between Eminem and a lot of these newer artists coming in there from different parts of culture, is that he respects hip hop to its core. To its core, he respects, he reveres, he upholds the essence, the core, the purpose of what the culture was to begin with. But now, because it is so mainstream, so accessible, so easy to get into, you're getting a lot of dudes that have no actual respect for what the culture means to people. And if you continue to let these people just come in, voice these opinions, have these effects on the culture that don't respect the culture, you are just going to see it being chipped away at over and over and over again, and diluted to the point where you will not be able to recognize what hip hop is anymore. At some point, somebody's got to push back and stop letting these motherfuckers in here that have no respect for what was laid before them. But I don't know how that's going to change, because if they come in, they make hits, they have success, that trumps all. And he's had success. He's clearly had success. But that does not mean you can come and just shit on everything that was done before you. It's frustrating as fuck. Like, it's very frustrating to see this kind of happen over and over and over again. Like, you embrace them, you bring them into the culture, and then they shit on the very thing that made them successful. Miley Cyrus, Post Malone. Like, how many times are we going to see this just happen and just let it happen? Very frustrating.
Concept of black struggle at all. I mean, while it is true there's a lot to know about drill music and the culture that surrounds it, much of the content is removed from any systemic or historical context that might explain it. And the way it's presented on the internet doesn't exactly push listeners to go do their own digging on that front. I think emrld Beats would have more awareness around what he's saying and how it would come across if it was. Unfortunately, as great as the internet and algorithms can be when it comes to spreading information and opening people up to things and types of art and sounds that they wouldn't have been introduced to otherwise, simultaneously it allows for, and I think incentivizes, a type of art consumption that is just purely surface level, and that's it. As a result, every year I feel like we are seeing more and more art created to appeal in that way. Now, I think the music mainstream and record labels have always done that to underground styles of music. They have found ways to commercialize, and that's been the case for hip-hop for decades now, from Vanilla Ice to the pretty boy studio gangsters of the Bling era. But in a lot of ways, the internet and streaming platforms have like really perfected the formula. We're now looking at the result here because, again, this problem is way bigger than one white guy or a group of other guys who are making his livelihood possible.
It's one of the issues with hip hop is that it is so accessible. There is no barrier to entry, and we are so welcoming and embracing. We don't really care where you come from. We don't really care about your opinions. If you make a hit, if you make a song that is catchy, you pretty much overlook anything and everything. And that is something that cannot be reversed. That is just something that is almost at the core of hip hop, and why it was so important to the culture and to just people from like those urban centers of where it grew from, is because you didn't need to learn an instrument. You didn't need to go to these like fancy schools. You didn't need to have these like degrees in music or like understand music theory or anything like that. You can just put your heart and soul into something, to music, and create something that would instantly resonate with the everyman. And that is like why hip hop was so successful, why it's been so successful. But then you start, because it is so open, you let people in here like this that just do not give a fuck about the essence of hip hop or the culture of it. And then they get success from it and love from it. And like they feel validated in the ways that they feel, where it's like somebody, honestly, back in the day might have done, would have put hands on him. But we don't get that anymore. At some point, bro, there's got to be a line drawn if we want the core of hip hop, the essence of hip hop, to still be important.
Or even the audience that is then after that consuming what both parties are making together. Really, the problem, to put it bluntly, is that the music market and capitalism has completely burnt to the ground anything that would incentivize the old way of doing things or maintaining any sort of community around this stuff. To this day, I think one of the only elements of hip-hop's original ethos that has stayed alive is its competitive spirit. But unfortunately, even
that, quite honestly, has been basically lacking. Like, I've literally had conversation during the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef back and forth with a younger guy, like talking like 20, who did not understand why Kendrick was going at Drake, or why this was being celebrated, and why it wasn't considered hating, or why, because it's competition. Hip hop at its core has always been about competition. Like battles, rap battles, lyricism, beefs, being the best. Like that's always been at the core of hip hop. And like having to explain that to a younger generation was like eye-opening to me, and why and pretty much why the genre is at the point that it is now, because those lessons, that community, that like essence of it has not been passed down. It just has not. Like, I don't know why or where that kind of disconnect is between like this older generation and this younger ones, but there is clearly a massive divide in the culture. And it's like, those things should have been passed down or carried on at least to a degree. And like, obviously there are some artists that still do that. Like Kendrick still very much carries the core and essence of hip hop into everything that he does. But like, there's few and there's very few that have like really carried that torch for it. And it's like, you don't need to sound the same as best, but like the essence and the core and like the lessons and essentials of the culture is something that should have been passed down. And it's just not happening. It's just not happening.
That has been bastardized to be less about skill and technical ability and more about the commercial success you're seeing and the numbers you're doing, which
facts. I mean, that's always been also a part of like hip hop beef and just competition, is that like, I'm more successful, I made more money. But what I would say where the competition thing really shifted between like the younger artists is it's not about skill. It's not about music. It's been about, what have you done in the streets? I'm tougher than you. I'm more gangster than you. Like, that has where it's kind of shifted from, where it's like, and it was about the music. Now it is strictly almost everything else but the music. That is exactly why Drake and Kendrick went as crazy as it did, because it was the first time in almost well over a decade you've seen a true musical back and forth where the essence of hip hop was respected. And it was like, this is what it's about. I'm better than you in every shape or form when it comes to this hip hop thing, when it comes to the music, when it comes to the lyricism, when it comes to the songs, when it comes to like everything. Like, it not about, I'm not going to get on social media and social media to death with you and like talk about all these different things and hop on lives. And now I'm going to put out music. So that is why it went as crazy as it did, because for a lot of people, they had never experienced that. They weren't around for 50 Cent. They weren't around for Jay-Z and Nas. They weren't around for those moments in hip hop that you still look back to this day, that basically defined and basically shaped where things are going to be heading for the next 5 to 10 years.
There's nothing inherently wrong with deeming something important simply because it's popular. There are certainly worse ways to gauge relevance, but in the internet age, there's a disconnect though, because there is so little transparency around what's actually hot and what's actually not. Very little of what becomes viral and what becomes popular does so purely by organic means. It's all done through algorithms and recommendations and content that whatever app you're on is put there because mathematically the people who engineer these platforms have figured out what exactly to throw in front of your eyes in order to get you to stay on whatever app, whatever platform for as long as humanly possible. On top of that, you have record labels paying in
1000%. The days of having like an underground hit and understanding something and having regional hits are pretty much gone. Like, there was always that kind of essence of like knowing a song before somebody else did, or like having this regional thing way before it kind of blew up and grew everywhere else. Like, think of Soulja Boy. I remember Soulja Boy way back in the day before Soulja Boy Superman even blew up. Like, those that know, that were around the LimeWire, Bear Share days, they know. We heard that song years before it blew up. And like having that and understanding how like viral that was before it went viral was a moment, was something special. And like those days are pretty much gone now. Can't really think of any singles that you really like can think of that are like viral hits or like underground hits these days that people don't know about, or that the algorithm has not bastardized to some degree.
Influencers are streams around a given song or a music video or whatever piece of content botted, who the hell knows? As I wrap this video up, let me just remind you guys that I'm not trying to make a broad stroke assessment of hip hop music here or talk about what's wrong with the genre or anything like that. It's obviously still a thriving genre with a lot of layers and a lot of versatility to its sound. And while it is true, the internet is most definitely a place where you can see a lot of artists and a lot of music fans thriving off a very niche specific appeal where they're deep diving on one or two different things that they're totally in love with, because yeah, there are Swifties out there with an encyclopedic knowledge of her entire catalog. There are K-pop fans that can tell you every member of every group that's come out over the past 6 years. With that being said though, I think a lot of media consumption online these days,
I mean, straight up, like, that is honestly one of the worst musical takes that I've heard in recent times. And like, to have that come from an actual semi-successful producer is crazy because like he's a drill producer. He makes some of the most simple-minded, disposable music out there in the genre. And for him to point at songs and sounds and production that actually takes like a lot more skill and thought and depth than the things that he's making, it's like wild. It's wild. But he better have some fire shit to be kind of like saying the things that he's saying. Let's check out his producer credits. Let's see the type of music that he puts out for him to say the shit about soul samples and boom bap and just basically hip hop in general before like 5 years ago. Or what seems to be like his biggest song. So let's check that one out. Let's check this out. Why is that not? Oh. Seems to be one of his biggest ones, and for Choppa came out in 2024.
Emrld.
Fuck. Bitch, is we fucking away? Let me nut on your butt. Fight. Is we fucking at night? Toes right on her pussy is tight. She ride my dick like a bite. I beat the pussy like fight. Scary movie, she wanna record it. We watch it again like the hot lights. Baby, you know you my type. I feel like Freddy together for 5. She in love through the dash like a hyphen. Can't spend no time with these bitches, I'm timeless. Said she sick of me, she caught the itis. I feel like Trav in this room, I'm the highest. We could lay up and look.
I mean, it's a cool song. Like the production is solid. Like I'll give him that. It's definitely solid production, but it also sounds like, you know, it honestly sounds like what's that bounce? What's the it sounds like Just Wanna Rock from Lil Uzi Vert, which is basically just Jersey kind of club music given a little more hip hop flair to it. So like it's not like super in-depth production. Like it's good production, but it's not like high level.
Look at the starlights. If she not fucking, she got it the part like. Girl, we been hugging and cuddling.
Like that rhythm has been used in multiple songs. Let me see.
All night. Is we fucking away? Pretty, but she hard to.
I just wanna rock. Body of the year. What you want? Ha! 16 the block. I just wanna rock. I just wanna.
I mean, it's what you'd call kind of Jersey club, or some other cities might take kind of claim to that, but like it's been used multiple times, so it's not like crazy. What else? Slept Me Out. I think I've heard that one.
I need all the bad bitches to the floor.
Emrld.
If I was a bad bitch, I wanna fuck me too. I wanna suck me too. I wanna suck me too. If I was a bad bitch, I wanna hump me too. I wanna trap me too. No, I'm freaking it
I
out.
mean, again, pretty much every drill beat or sound that I've ever heard has that same drum rhythm. Like it's not fancy shit that's going on. It's very simple-minded, easy production. And like, there's a reason why drill is kind of dying out, because how many times we're going to hear that same drum rhythm over and over and over again. If you don't believe me, you can go listen to almost any Ice Spice and you will hear that kind of same type of rhythm. All right, what else has he got? Making songs for a Lil Mabu. I think that says enough. That's enough for what I need to know.
Look at those dark circles. Look at his eyes, bro. What I'm telling you, people, a rich white kid who grew up don't have dark circles like that. It looks like he got bags under his eyes.
Emerald.
Yeah. I just landed in my city, where's the fucking gang? Been in the A so long, my whole accent changed. Ain't gotta write it on a chain, cause they know that that's a real man's job. How you treat a whore better than your own mom.
Alright, so, I mean, production is fine. It's fine. It's fine. Like, I can see why he has some sort of appeal. Like, it's definitely what is in right now. It's kind of like that mainstream sound of hip hop, but like I can never look at that and think like, oh, that's some high level shit that he's doing that's going to last for years. Like, I don't think you're gonna look back in 5 years and hear and think, damn, you remember Emerald Beats? Like, he's put out some crazy shit. Like, I just think it's very disposable, simple shit. And like, for him to kind of like have that opinion and be producing sounds like that is hilarious to me. Because again, if you're going to throw out soul samples gone. Pretty much remove 1/2 of Kanye West's catalog, which is insane. Not even my favorite one of his. I mean, you pick one. There's Infrared.
Equal to Trump's winning. The bigger question is how the Russians did it. It was written like Nas, but it came from
Follow God.
What does it follow, Prince?
A white bike, feeling like a sight bike, resting on the gas.
Stretch my hands to you.
Life like, this is what your life like. Try to live the life right. People really know you push your buttons like type right. This is like a movie, but it's really very lifelike. Every single night, right? Every single fight, right? I was looking at the.
I mean, Father, stretch my hands. Throw that out too.
If young Metro don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you. Beautiful morning, yeah, the sun in my morning bed.
Could you imagine? Throw that out. Remove that from hip hop. Are you kidding me? Diamonds from Sierra Leone. That's easy enough. Come on, bro. What are we talking about? Like, just throw out all of his catalog, basically. Gold Digger. Throw out Gold Digger. Like, Through the Fire.
Yo, G, the king, what's going on? I drink a boost for breakfast, an insure for dessert. Somebody order pancakes, I just sip the scissor. That right there could drive a sane man berserk. Not to worry, Mr. Ace to the Illos back to Wizard. How do you console my mom or give her light support? Telling her son's on life support. And just imagine how my girl feel on the plane, scared as hell that a guy looked like Emmett Till. She was with me before the deal, she been trying to be mine. She a Delta, so she been throwing that dynasty sign. No use me trying to be lying.
Like, throw out his catalog. Like, throw out everything that he produced on the Blueprint. Like, hold on. Let's find everything he produced on the Blueprint. Otis, obviously, with Jay-Z and Kanye. Heart of the City, remove that. Remove H to the it. Come on, bro.
gentlemen, to the eighth wonder of the world, the flow of the century. Oh, it's timeless. Ho! Thanks for coming out tonight. You could have been.
Remove that. Remove that. Are you kidding me? And that's just soul samples. I could keep going. There's a million soul samples, but Kanye West literally built a lot of his early career off of his ability to flip soul samples. Remove Jay Dilla from the equation of hip hop. Like, what are we talking about? Remove Madlib. Like, what are we talking about? Remove boom bap. Like, are you kidding me? Remove I already know off the top of my head. Remove NY State of Mind from Nas. Let's just see.
Yeah. Hey, yo, Black, it's time. Word. It's timing. It's time, man. Alright, begin. Yeah. Straight out the fucking dungeons of rap, where fake niggas don't make it back.
So one of the greatest productions or songs in hip hop of all time. Remove that from the equation. That's trash, according to him. Let's keep this going. Mobb Deep, Shook Ones. Remove this.
Word up, son. Word.
Yeah. To all the killers and the $100 billers. For real, niggas who ain't got no feelings. Check it out now.
Like, remove that from hip hop. That shit is trash. Imagine that. Survival of the fittest.
Yeah. Sending this one out to my man Killer B. No doubt, indeed. Without weed, you know what I'm saying? That old real shit. There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. You could run, but you can't hide forever from these streets that we done took. You walking with your head down, scared to look. You shook, cause ain't no such things as halfway crooks. They never around when the beef cooks in my part of town.
Like, imagine removing that from hip hop. There is no hip hop. What the was he talking about? Who shot you?
As we proceed to give you what you need. It's not time, motherfuckers. Get live, motherfuckers. As we proceed to give you what you need. Not time, motherfuckers. Get live, motherfuckers.
Now turn the mics up. Turn that mic up. Yeah, the beat is knocking. Leave that mic up though. Turn that shit the fuck up. What? Turn it up louder. Yeah.
One of the greatest beats of all time. Like, remove that from the equation as well. One more. I just gotta do one more. Cream.
That nigga won, guy. Word up. Look out for the cops, though.
Cash fruit.
Word up. 2 for 5s over here, baby. Word up. 2 for 5s. Them niggas got garbage down the way. Word up.
Cash fruit is everything around me. Cream it.
Yeah. Check this old fly shit out. Word up.
Cash
Take you on the national joint.
Cream, get the money.
Here we go. Check this shit. Yeah. I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job. Had second hands. Moms bounced on old man. So then we moved to Shaolin Land. A young youth. You're rocking the go-to. Low.
Like, remove all of that from hip hop, according to Emrld Beats. This is why y'all say old heads are haters, because y'all say certain shit that's just baffling. And the disrespect is crazy. All soul samples, all boom bap, throw that shit out. Now, compare the songs I just played to the shit that I played of his. In 30 years, whose song do you think will still be getting plays? Pretty much rhetorical question. And for him to come into the genre and say shit like that openly with his chest, it's like, I don't condone violence, but people like that, in their future, all they deserve to see is a bunch of hands and feet. That's it. Absolutely infuriating to hear people like that say the things that they have to say about a genre that means so much to so many people that have laid the groundwork for so many successful artists, so many different genres, so much just swag and culture in general. Everything that he does is thanks to those people. And for him to like come out here openly and say like, throw that shit out, it's just like, fuck you.